Hey guys, welcome to the another episode of Limitless Leadership Podcast. For today's podcast, I am really excited because this topic is completely different. And the coach which we have today, she has lived that life. And I always get inspired by such people who has lived that life and then now they are helping people to overcome such issues. I'm not going to talk about what is her topic or what she do, because that is what this podcast is all about. Throughout this podcast, we are going to highlight a journey of us to understand how she dealt with it and how she is helping others. So, for today's podcast, I am really excited to learn from her because lived experience is always, I believe, is tons of value than getting a certificate or getting some thing done. So thank you so much, Seema ma'am, accepting our invitation. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Suraj,
So
for having
before
me here.
you become a yeah, thank you. Before you become a coach, you tell me who you were become. Who was you?
Okay.
How do you define yourself?
Okay. So throughout my childhood and early adulthood, I was abroad because I was born and brought up abroad, and that itself was an entirely different experience. And once I got married, I settled down in India. So that is the basic thing. And although I had a lot of ambition to be this, to be that. I think I put myself on the back seat and I wanted to raise my family. And right now, I feel that I'm ready to, proceed with what I have to do, a purpose.
So you have spent a lot of time to raise a family and abroad and bought out
Yeah,
in foreign and then shift into India.
yeah.
Okay. So what do you think? What was the turning point in your journey when you thought that now it's enough? Let me just try to let me help others, those who are facing similar problem
Yeah.
what you have faced. Tell something of
Yeah. Well, frankly speaking, Suraj,
what
I
you have
grew up
faced
with
and
a
when that
stammer.
thought comes.
Yeah. So frankly speaking, I grew up with a stammer. I began stammering at the age of 3. And my
That's
entire
interesting.
adulthood, I think up till my 40s, I have been stammering. Yeah. So the turning point I would say is I started accepting my stammering at a very early age because that was how I was brought up. My mom, especially, she and my entire family, I've been blessed that way. They have never made me feel that, oh, you're a stammerer, and because of that, you cannot do so many things, you cannot have a career or anything like that. That was never the agenda. But most of the time, I feel, especially when I entered college in India, it was a truly eye-opening situation for me because for the first time, I'm living away from my parents. I'm literally, a small fish in a huge pond, and that's where stammering really uh, put me down, made me feel small because all the other people in the college I felt were really good achievers. They were doing their best, especially in terms of speech. But I can't entirely blame the situation. I can say that it was mostly my mindset. Which brought me, trying to bring myself down in front of others because of my stammer. And it's not like how I'm speaking now, Suraj. My stammer was really bad. And so I had very low confidence. However, I enjoyed writing. I would write pages and pages. In fact, I even started writing a book and all at that point of time. And my main ambition then was to become a journalist, and not a journalist holding a mic because I would rather not speak in front of anyone, but a print journalist, writing, editing, and things like that.
Right.
But somewhere behind my mind is that, am I really fit for a career to be out there? So I never pursued it. I always found excuses. Okay, Abhi, now it's time to get married. And I settled in for a marriage that my parents also wanted. And I'm very happy. I cannot say anything about that. And also, in terms of my stammering, I had a lot of support from my extended family as well. There was no bullying or anything of that sort, making fun. I never felt that way. It was all in my mind. So that's when I think in my 40s, with growing children, and I would face their parents and talk to their parents, and I would stammer. So my children would never feel embarrassed, but I felt really, really embarrassed because even at this age, I could not control my own speech. So that's when I decided I really need to change things for myself. And hence, I can, have my children, my family, all of them proud of me. So that's when I started very, very seriously practices for myself, breathing or reading out loud. I joined Toastmasters International, all for a cause of self development. Right. Because unless and until I do something about myself, I will never be able to help anybody.
Right.
That was my main changing point.
Yes. Amazing. And you have mentioned about your family, your not feeling low when you were stammering badly. That was something really commendable. I really like that. Was there any point, Sima, where you felt key, let me just give up? That working on myself and still I'm not able to overcome my stammer. Let me just give up all those things. Was there any thought, any point of time?
Yes. I will admit to that because uh, no, truly speaking, I was embarrassed about myself, which is what it starts out as. And at a very early age, I always wanted to be perfect in anything that I, whether it is my academics, whether it is in writing or whatever. I wanted to be perfect, and that moved on to being a people pleaser later on in my life, in my teenage years, adulthood. And I think even now I can never say no to anybody. I'm still learning the ropes on how to say no because I would not want anybody to be sad or disappointed because of me. Right.
Yes.
So there were several times I would say, especially when I wanted to take up a career, that I'm literally giving up because of the stammering. I just cannot do it. I cannot go for interviews. I cannot, I cannot proceed in any way. Even if I was in a job, I could not speak to
Right.
my colleagues properly. They would not understand me. So that I've felt several times while growing up.
Then who has healed you or who has inspired you throughout this time?
The first person always is my mother. She is no longer with us. I've lost her around 16 years ago. But I believe she is the one who really held my hand throughout everything. I realized that at a later stage, mind you, Suraj, not at that point of time when she was literally hand holding. So all credit goes to her because of her grace and her ease and the way she would just be. I try to imbibe that even today and to pass that on to my children. So she has definitely been the all important role. And then I would say a couple of professors when I was in college. They were the ones who knew what I was going through because I felt I was bullied in college. So they sort of give me a lot of opportunities to prove that I can be as good as the others. So the two professors in college was also very important. And off late, I think I watch a lot of YouTube and channels like yours and all, which give me a lot of inspiration that nothing is over unless you give it a try. So a lot of people, I can say, a lot of mentors are there who have helped me through.
Amazing. 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 So I understood that there was a low point, still you overcome it, and then now I know that you are helping many people to come out of this stammering problem. just wanted to know that was there any fear or was there any, I mean, I would like to know the biggest fear while starting in this profession as a coach. What was that?
Oh,
Or was there a fear?
yeah.
Or you never
Oh,
felt
yeah.
that?
Yeah. Fear has always been, like with me since childhood,
Okay.
fear of so many things, right? So when starting out of this, my first fear is, do I have the trust of the people? Because like as a business, as a coach, I have never gone into it. I've never thought about it. My closest thing was to mentoring people who needed, speech improvement or delivery of speech while I was at Toastmasters. And I would just help about, anybody, whether it was my classmates, my neighbors. It was just that sort of a mentality. But when I really decided last year, somewhere around this time, that I want to make this purpose for me to help people out, the first fear, of course, was do I qualify to do that? Because when you are giving yourself to others and taking other people's responsibility on you, I think there's nothing more heavier than that. So, and then I realized that I myself have got all these issues. I've lived with it since a very young age. And I have done a lot of mindset rewiring myself. And maybe breathing practices, speaking practices, whatever it is. And I have, I thought this was the best way that I could help people out, because it is not something which I've learned from somewhere. I've not gone to college for this. I've not gone through any skills or courses or whatever. But there are so many things. My main, the way I accepted myself is because if I can speak like this now, I barely stutter. If I speak in my mother tongue,
Now,
maybe.
no one can make out that you were having such a
Yes.
stammering problem.
Yes.
And that is what I call a lived experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest fear, whether I could earn the trust of others. That is the first thing. And second, do I qualify to help others? That was my biggest fear.
What do you think? Who are your ideal clients who can get benefit from your service or your coaching?
Okay, so Suraj, at first I thought it would be better for college-going students and people getting into the professional world, because that's where they need a lot of support in terms of, they need to learn to accept their stammer. They need to learn how to, improve their mindset about stammering and how people see them. So I thought it would be great to deal with the age group of 18 to 35 because they are older, they will understand me. But I had quite a few opportunities to help minors. Right? And that experience was mind-blowing. It just happened by chance. It is not what I asked for. So experiences with children have been very satisfying because it takes me back to my childhood and I can really understand what they have been through or what they are going through. And another satisfying factor about coaching children is I tend to coach parents as well. Because these are minor children and we need to be very careful, because without parental support, there is absolutely no way communication in children can come out well. That I can vouch for, because I've seen several families and children suffering as a result of this. So I think, Suraj, now I feel that, okay, I might have to catch them young. Children, catch them young so that they can grow up to be responsible communicators and responsible speakers. But not that I'm not, helping people, older people. In fact, I've got a couple of clients who are at the corporate level. who have you have 50 years of your life conditioning one way, and then you need to change all that. It's challenging, but they are being cooperative, and I enjoy that as well. But that satisfaction for helping children out, they are so innocent, they barely know what's happening to them, so that gives me a lot of pleasure.
What do you think? What people are silently suffering?
Who, me?
No. What your target audience is silent, and even they are not able to speak it out upfront to anyone. What your target market you feel is silently suffering with what?
Okay, so first I would like to say that about communication, because everyone should understand at an early age that communication and the proper way of communicating is very important in our lives. And almost all issues can be solved with proper communication. That is one thing that people have to understand, and I'm trying to do that as well. As far as the pain points of my audience would be, if it's younger children, the most popular pain point is being bullied in school, where they are teased and misunderstood. And on top of that, it is a fact. It's a truth that even the teachers or the seniors, whoever in school, do not take stammering children into some sort of a way that they can mold them and encourage them, rather than not giving them a chance to perform on stage, for instance. So for children, this is the main pain point. They are not being accepted. And for adults, I feel that it has a lot to do with their own mind, that they are not accepting the stammering, and they see it as some sort of an enemy. Yeah.
Amazing, superb. So what do you think? What makes your coaching unique?
I would say I'm very empathetic. I'm a great listener.
Yeah. Any example or any experience you want to mention?
Okay, so there is this one child whom I'm, who I've been coaching for the past 8 weeks, and he is a genius. Okay, and there's one thing, like most people who have got stammering issues from childhood are highly intelligent. And that is one of the main reasons. They've got too many thoughts in their mind. So bringing one thing after another, it keeps racing. That's just one factor, but that is one thing which I make them understand, that because they are highly intelligent and they've got a lot of things, that is what they need to say. So this particular child whom I've been coaching, he doesn't have a major stammering issue, but that starting point, when he wants to start a sentence with certain sounds, like how are you, the her doesn't come out. So I keep telling him, use something else where you're comfortable with, instead of her. You can say, good to see you. Things like that. Those small changes, what we make, helps the child a lot. And this particular child whom I'm talking about is a maths genius. And what he does is so in the middle of coaching, like say, for example, I'm teaching him some humming practices. He goes onto the whiteboard, he solves the sum, which has been in his mind from class, that morning. And he's solving that. And when solving that, this child is speaking to me so fluently without a stutter, and I'm just waiting. I don't interrupt him. He is speaking. He doesn't even know he's not stuttering. But he's solving this sum, this very, very complicated equation. I'm not a math person, but I'm sitting and I'm listening to this child. And I'm telling, at the end of this entire 10-minute process, where he's speaking without a stutter, simply by doing what he's enjoying, just exactly proves where stuttering comes from, where the stammering comes from. So I try to, whoever I coach, I try to get the best out of them first. What is it that they do well, even if it's something minute, like any art and craft or whatever. So my children who are with me, they bring to the coaching class their art, their craft, their drawing book, their storybook, whatever it is.
Amazing.
I don't give any strict thing that okay, you need to only focus on this. So when they are comfortable and at ease, it makes their speech also equally easy.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. And so deep it is. And I really love the example which you have quoted because many parents nowadays are going through these issues and many young children also. So, if
Yeah.
someone wants to connect with you, how they can connect? If they
Okay.
are
So
facing, they themselves are facing, or anyone in their contact who is having, stammering issue, how they can connect with you?
okay, so this is where I reveal my challenges in social media presence. So when I entered the coaching business, I've always been a people's person, Suraj. I belong to that generation where I need to see someone, and only after COVID I started seeing anybody online. So I'm very
Absolutely.
comfortable on LinkedIn. Because I like the way it in the entire format is the platform, and I have been on Instagram and Facebook only for my minute things connected with my coaching. So I basically like the audience on LinkedIn. However, I am exploring areas like Instagram and Facebook and all that for a more broader reach, because I have decided that I need to help a lot more people. And it is going to take time. So unless people know about me, they're not going to move in. But as of now, it's through my LinkedIn profile and through, people who know me and who like through word of mouth. That's the way it's happening.
Amazing. So, guys, we are going to post her LinkedIn profile here in the description box. Whoever wants to connect with her can get in touch with her. I have few more questions which are like little bit involved. So, what are your some of habits
Yeah.
which has helped you to come out of your own issue?
Okay. Habits. Okay, since my childhood, there's one consistent habit, and that is reading out loud. So this was not taught by any clinical person, but I have a way, like even now when I'm reading, I read out loud in the privacy of my room so that not to disturb others. Because there's a way in which you do not bend and look down and read a book. You keep the book in front of you so that this entire portion is free of air, and so you can speak. So this is one thing which I do consistently. I've been doing since my childhood, and maybe not every day, but that is one thing which I truly believe in, because the voice literally has to come from the abdomen. Any voice coming from the abdomen rather than from the throat will help you
Amazing.
speak well. Yeah. And another thing is I write. I write a
Yes.
lot. I journal all my thoughts because I'm a very nervous person. Not now, not more now, but I think until even 5 years ago, I used to get anxious for everything. So writing it down would, minimize that a lot. And the less anxious I am, the better I speak. So that is another thing, writing, which I do, and I don't even type. I actually write because I can't do the digital way. I have to write it. And the third thing which I do is yogic practices, breathing and humming. Breathing means it's the basic pranayama, and also the humming, because humming also makes your voice come in from the abdomen. So these three things I'm pretty regular with, and of course there are a lot of other things which I do, which I'm learning myself now, and so that I can help others that way. But personally, this is what I've been doing.
Amazing, amazing. Just to summarize, what I took is that one is reading aloud, and then expressing your thought through writing, and then you are constantly practicing your breathing practices as well. Amazing. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? What mindset shift you did, which helped you to succeed in this stammering flaw? What mindset shift you have done?
One of the most important things is I wanted it for myself.
Hmm?
See, because I have been stammering since childhood, I let it be. I let my stammering be even into my 20s, my 30s, and only when I reached my 40s, I sort of, it somehow clicked me. And at that point of time, I thought, why didn't I think of this before? So
Right.
and I don't want anyone else to have that regret either, because mindset is everything, no matter what. I'm sure you know that, Suraj, because you are
Right.
way ahead in your business and your work. If your mindset was not like this, you wouldn't be where you are. Correct. So, and it is up to us. You don't need another person. Like I didn't have my family telling me stop stammering. I didn't have my husband or my kids tell me, no, you need to learn to speak better. No, it was never that. It was me who wanted it, because yeah, I felt embarrassed, and I could be a great speaker. I have lots of thoughts. I've written so much, but I'm unable to express it. So if you don't want it for yourself, then it's very difficult for it to happen.
Right, right. Amazing, amazing. So rightly you have put it up that until and unless you decide for yourself, you will not able to face the challenges or that uncertainty which you are going to face, or that uncomfortable zone. You need to face that, but it should
Yes.
come from within. If
Yes.
someone comes and pop up and give you an idea, you will not be able to sustain with that. Amazing,
Not at all.
superb.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think? What some of the uh, people, those who are early of their stammering stage, and what practices they can start doing right now by themselves?
Okay, that's a very good question, because I'm coming across a lot of children within the age group of 3 to 4 who have got these speech delays. They call that speech delay now, and I'm simply mind boggled at how this is happening. Probably it's there are various theories, screen time. There are not many people at home to converse with the child, and so on and so forth. So if you're starting at a young age with the stammering, there is a lot of input that has to come from the family. For instance, when a child is stammering at home, you do not complete the sentence for the child. However long he or she takes, let the child take his or her own time and complete the sentence, because breaking off in between is going to aggravate the stammering. So if you're starting in early childhood, the parents need to be very, very attentive of this. And one more thing I've noticed, like I've been also coaching parents about this, because most parents are all over the place. My child has to go to IIT at the age of 3. Otherwise, he will not be
Yeah.
successful. So that kind of a peer pressure is never going to help. So
Yes.
that is one thing I always advise parents: don't expect so much, because we need to put ourselves in the shoes of the child. So one thing, early stammering is this, and like I truly believe, although it has not been proved, multiple languages can also have an effect on children. That has been taken down by a lot of people, but for my personal experience, I was born in Africa, Suraj. So I was exposed to English. I was exposed to the local language Swahili. I was exposed to my mother tongue Malayalam, and I was exposed to my very close Gujarati family neighbors. So I was exposed at a very young age, like since birth, to 4 different languages. And I clearly
Right.
remember thinking, like when I'm talking to my Gujarati friend, neighbor, I cannot speak in English, Swahili, or Malayalam. I need to, so in my mind, I am doing the translation of how to speak in Gujarati. Okay, which was, I mean, not very fluent, but I'm exposed to that. But nowadays, there are a lot of researchers and scientists saying that multiple languages has got no effect. But I believe for me, I had that, because it made my mind slower. Then you go to school, you're exposed to English and Swahili, and that again becomes by the time I translate, now it's a small mind, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old mind. So I truly believe that. But in this day and age, you cannot tell parents, don't speak in English, speak only in your mother tongue, because he or she has to go to school and all that.
Right.
So I don't suggest that now, but I tell them that this can also be a possibility. And for maybe older people, the first things that they can do is reading out loud, standing in front of the mirror. I have had people like, I make them hold a pen in the mouth. I'm sure you must have seen that, and then speak and practice with a pen, because it's a common thing which you can do in the comfort of your own home. But the only thing that will really work is your mindset, and the main thing that you want it to be, and never to ever think that stammering is some sort of a disease or making you a loser. Accepting stammering, especially for older people, is very important. Accept the way that you speak. And don't think that, okay, people are there to make fun of me or bully me and all that, or who are going to get better jobs because I'm a stammerer. That mindset should really be there for older people.
Amazing. So when you were explaining all those things, there one question came in my mind. I want to throw it to you. That what do you think? How important is the role of accountability when a person is facing this issue?
Oh, that's a very big plus.
How we need accountability, or what is the role of it? Okay.
That's a big plus, because doing it alone is more difficult than when you have someone who is with you, holding your hand literally throughout your journey. Okay, like when I'm coaching children who are out of college or going into the work scene, I tell them to have somebody comfortable. It need not be your parent. It can be a peer. It can be an older person from your friend circle, but someone who really understands you. That sort of an accountability is very, very important. And I'm sure that's there in every field, Suraj. But especially in stammering, because it requires a lot of self-development. Someone being with you and who can be there for you psychologically, mentally as well. Because some people take it very, very hard on themselves. And I don't blame them, because it is in a situation, if you're not able to vocalize what you want to say, it can be a very big minus on your part. So having someone accountable for it will be amazing. I just wish and pray everybody gets that in their life.
I can totally relate with you. I mean, there was a point in my own life where I used to deliver sessions at early stage, and I used to go for hours of sessions, and then after 4-5 hours or so, my throat used to break down, and for some hours I used to feel like now I don't want to speak a single word, and sometimes it used to trouble me. That time I used to realize that how important it is, or what those people must be feeling, those who are having this stammering issue or speech issue or anything related to vocal problem, that so many thoughts are going on in my mind. I want to vent it out, and I'm not able to vent it out, and that is a really uncomfortable situation to be in. So you are solving a really, really big problem, and I think you should more go out and talk help from you. What do you think? What is your future vision? I want to throw this question to you. What is your future vision? What do you want to do for all those stammering people?
To reach out to as many people as possible, because I now know that there is a possibility to do that because of all the digital exposure and everything. I can influence a lot of people that way. So that is one thing which I really want to do, and I've never had this sort of a purposeful driven a situation where I want to do this much for people, and especially for where stammering is concerned. And the thing is that I am putting myself out there in the most uncomfortable situations, because I'm not comfortable with social media. I have to be very frank with you. But I am trying to do it because for other people. So if I'm putting up so much of an effort, and which I could have definitely done earlier, I regret that, but it's never too late to start. So I honestly want to make communication, whichever language it is. I help in communicating in English because I'm fluent only in English. I'm not even fluent in my mother tongue. I'm embarrassed about that. But in whatever way I can, if I can help out even one person, that is a huge thing for me. But I would really like to spread myself across India. I'm very fond of India. I think it's because I've grown up abroad always, so that that affinity towards India and Indians has always been there. And everyone should be given a chance to communicate, Suraj. So that is my thing for the future.
Everyone has that right to speak, and that's the reason this God has given us a language.
Absolutely.
It is not given to any other animal and us. That is the fundamental right every human have, and if they are struggling with that, then all those issues come. What you have mentioned.
You have said that really so perfectly.
Because we need to go to fundamentals.
Yes.
Whenever we compare ourselves with any other animal, the only differentiator is our language.
Correct. Correct.
Rest things other animals also have.
Yes.
But the difference is the language, what we speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, some other animals also have languages, but what we can speak, that they are not. So amazing. This was really a great interaction with you, but I don't leave any expert with this one question. That what was the limitless point in your life? What do I mean by limitless? Where you thought, I'm not sure whether this will happen or not, but somehow you make it happen, and you have break your limits, and you have reached to that point, and I call that point as a limitless point in your life. So I just want you to highlight on that and tell us about your limitless moment.
Okay, so when I got into this idea of having a coaching business, it was sometime last year. And the years of 24, 25 have been on a personal level very, very tough. And during that tough time, I have been through very good times, I've been through very bad times, but 24, 25 was really tough. But even at that point, I came across this opportunity. And in spite of the troubled times, I chose that I need to do this. So I chose other people's stammering issues, their speech anxiety. I chose that over my personal whatever I was going through. So I think in that way I have matured a lot, because although I have always been caring and empathetic towards others, to make this crucial decision was truly limitless, because I had to undergo a lot of learning about systems and all this technology, and even conducting a Zoom call was nil last year. So I am ready. I feel that way, and unless and until you're ready, I'm not waiting for the perfect moment. I've made a lot of errors in the last 1 year in my thing, but everything is not an error. It is a learning opportunity. So that way, and that thanks to you for letting me share this, because it's very important that people understand it's not enough to be intelligent. You need to know how to communicate your intelligence as well.
Absolutely. Otherwise, no one will know.
Yeah. So thank you.
And if no one knows you, then no one will get benefit out of it. And if you are not
Correct.
valuable to someone, then it is of no
Yes.
use. Then it is of no use.
Correct.
So
Yes,
your
absolutely.
intelligence really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Awesome, great. So now I'm going to ask you series of questions. I call it a rapid fire round. Okay, and I want
Great.
you to give me answer
Okay.
in one word. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
be ready. One habit you never skip.
Connecting with the divine.
One book everyone should read.
Atomic Habits.
One mistake every new coaches make.
Too much expectation.
Your biggest fear.
Getting into stammering again.
Your biggest dream.
To help at least 50,000 people speak really fluently.
Amazing. One word for your past self.
Angelic.
One word for your present self.
Dynamic.
One daily success habit.
Writing my journal.
One thing money can't buy.
Love and affection for yourself.
What is your one final message to all those audience who are listening to us till this point?
We must always believe in ourselves. Each one of us have got something in us. It doesn't matter whether you realize it at the age of 10 or at the age of 50. But the moment you realize that you can be of value to anyone else, just go ahead and do it. Whether you're a coach or a business person or a philanthropist, or if you keep helping, supporting people in education, whatever it is, any small bit, if you can do it, please do it, because we are all here on this earth to help others. That I truly believe.
Amazing, superb. It was a great interaction with you, and I truly believe whoever is watching this podcast till this time, there are going to be contact details of Seema below this video in the description box. Connect with her. Don't let your child or someone's child or your colleague or your parents or anyone to face this issue. When she has come out of this issue after 30-40 years, she can certainly help your closer one to come out of it. So I request everyone, whoever is watching this podcast, to get in touch with her. There are links below this description box, in the description box. Connect with her. And Seema, truly thank you so much for coming and enlightening us and giving us your all the experience which you have lived. And it was really amazing discussion with you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Suraj, for having me here with you, because you also come across as a very positive and very dynamic person doing what you want to do and for helping people out there. So it was great being here. And I thank you to everyone who's been listening also. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next episode of Limitless Leadership Podcast. Thank you so much.